where there are 400 deputies now, 200 of whom are majoritarians. If a missile hits during a session, they won't be there. Yes, the list members will step in, but there won't be a legislative body as such, because even if 226 are gathered,
a fire broke out today at the Hvardiiske airfield in Crimea, with satellite imagery confirming the damage after Russian authorities declared a drone alert across the peninsula. The monitoring group Crimean Wind reported that flames were visible at the airfield, a key Russian military site. At the same time, Russian air defense positions near Olenivka were also hit, pointing to another coordinated Ukrainian strike aimed at weakening Moscow's military infrastructure in occupied Crimea. Ukraine has been targeting naval and air defense assets in and around Crimea for quite some time, and Russian bloggers write that Ukraine is dismantling the air defense systems and radar systems of the occupiers in Crimea. An explosion on railway tracks in Russia's Oryol region killed 2 people and injured another. Several long-distance trains were delayed, reports Astra. The blast happened on the Maloar-Khangelsk to Glazunovka line. Regional Governor Andrei Klitschkov said explosives had been planted directly on the tracks. Law enforcement and emergency services are working at the scene. The cause of the explosion and details about the victims are still being determined. Later, acting governor of the Kursk region, Alexander Kinstein, reported that 2 National Guard officers were killed and another is in serious condition. Earlier, Russian media reported that strike drones hit the Novo-Ufimsky oil refinery in Bashkortostan overnight. The facility is about 900 miles, 1,500 kilometers, from Ukraine's border. Sources later confirmed the refinery was targeted by drones from Ukraine's defense intelligence. The kamikaze drones triggered explosions and a large-scale fire. Soldiers of Ukraine's 225th Assault Regiment took out Russian loitering drones with small arms fire. Ukrainian soldiers are increasingly training to shoot down low-flying drones with small arms, practicing coordinated bursts, aiming at propellers and control surfaces, and using optical sights and tracer rounds to improve aim. These tactics provide a low-cost, flexible layer of air defense that complements electronic jamming and heavier systems, forcing adversary drones to fly higher or take greater risks. Ukraine's electronic warfare systems have become more effective against Russian Kinzhal missiles, making hits less frequent, Suspiln reports citing General Staff sources. Faster missiles are more vulnerable to jamming, officials explained. Russia has already lost at least $1.5 billion countering electronic warfare, forced to equip bombs and Shaheds with costly CRPA antennas worth $10,000 to $17,000 each. Roman Kostenko, member of the Ukrainian Parliament and Secretary of the Parliamentary Committee on National Security, Defense and Intelligence, said a Russian strike on the Verkhovna Rada is likely and only a matter of time. If it happens during a session, the country could become non-functional, the official warned.
For example, we have the Verkhovna Rada, the legislative body, where there are 400 deputies now, 200 of whom are majoritarians. If a missile hits during a session, they won't be there. Yes, the list members will step in, but there won't be a legislative body as such, because even if 226 are gathered, there won't be any coalition. That's it. Let's say no one will be able to extend martial law, no one will be able to pass any laws, declare mobilization, and more, let's say, the country will become non-functional. The president too. The president is illegitimate for them, and that's something entirely different. So why did they do it? They will make excuses, say we missed, or something else, but we have to be ready. Answering your question, does the enemy know about this and think about it? I am sure they have plans for it. It's only a matter of time, and when needed, they will definitely do it.
The Russian military has revealed the details of the loss of a Mi-24 attack helicopter that disappeared last year while hunting for Ukrainian maritime drones. The footage of the recovered wreckage was published by a Russian blog associated with Army Aviation. On April 10, 2024, the Russians raised a Mi-24 VP-39 Red helicopter with registration number RF-34200 to patrol the sea area near Sevastopol and repel an attack by Ukrainian maritime drones. At 3 a.m., the 4-person crew took off to perform a combat mission and returned to the airfield in half an hour. At 3:40, the plane disappeared from the radar and stopped communicating. A day later, on April 11th, a team of divers found the wreckage of the sunken helicopter with the bodies of 4 crew members at a depth of 15 meters. Telegram channels affiliated with Russian military aviation reported that divers had found no traces of external influence during the examination of the wreckage, refuting the version of an anti-aircraft strike. The possible version at the time was that the aircraft had malfunctioned. 4 crew members were killed in the crash. It is noteworthy that the crew and the helicopter were transferred to the combat zone from the 396th Mixed Regiment of the Baltic Fleet due to the intensification of Ukrainian maritime drones. In Crimea, they were based at the Kacha Air Base. Last April, we reported the loss of this aircraft, citing erroneous information about the loss of a Ka-27 naval helicopter from a Ukrainian Navy spokesman. As a reminder, in 2024, the Ukrainian military used naval drones with anti-aircraft weapons for the first time in the Black Sea, shooting down a Russian Mi-8 helicopter with a missile. The fired R-73 missile hit the enemy board with shooters engaged in intercepting maritime targets near Cape Tarkankut. Last April, Militarny reported the loss of this aircraft, citing erroneous information about the loss of a Ka-27 naval helicopter from a Ukrainian Navy spokesman. As a reminder, in 2024, the Ukrainian military used naval drones with anti-aircraft weapons for the first time in the Black Sea, shooting down a Russian Mi-8 helicopter with a missile. The fired R-73 missile hit the enemy board with shooters engaged in intercepting maritime targets near Cape Tarkankut. U.S. senators have introduced a bill to designate Russia and Belarus as state sponsors of terrorism, citing the abduction of over 19,000 Ukrainian children. Senator Lindsey Graham said Russia has earned its place on the list, which currently includes Cuba, Iran, North Korea, and Syria.
The Russians have invaded Ukraine, and they have kidnapped, we think, 19,546 Ukrainian children away from their families in Ukraine, brought them to Russia in some form, and the teenagers, they're training them to fight their own country. What's the right answer? Do something about it. What does it matter to be state sponsor of terrorism under U.S. law? Your economy is radioactive. You do business with Russia at your own peril. We have laws on the books that punish state sponsor of terrorism. It's hard to get on that list. Well, let me tell you, Russia's earned the right to be on this list.
The club, that's the group, a state sponsor of terrorism. The world has to stand for something bigger than just military and economic might. There is a moral imperative about the abduction and kidnapping of children, sending them to families where their identities are erased, or re-education institutions where they are remolded as people. This kind of atrocity we thought ended decades, even centuries ago. Now I know there are all kinds of practical questions. What does it mean? What's the impact? And the point here is...
And we're going to make Russia, under U.S. law, what they are. Terrorists. This is what terrorists do. They rape, they murder, they kidnap. So I'm looking forward to this debate, as you can tell. I'm looking forward to this vote. And if Russia doesn't want to be a state sponsor of terrorism under U.S. law, return the children.
And if you want to know what terrorism about, it's kidnapping kids. And one of the things that we have made very clear is that these kids must be returned before there's any negotiation on the war, only because you can't start having incentives for combatants in war to capture and kidnap kids.
Denmark has chosen the Franco-Italian SAMP/T long-range air defense system over the U.S. Patriot, signing a $9.1 billion deal for 8 units. The country's largest single defense investment, FT reports. The first system is expected to be operational already in 2025. This decision is probably connected with Trump's claim on Greenland.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.